Good evening. My name is Ryan Jackson, and I'm going to be speaking to you regarding reparations for Black Americans. We hear a lot about equality and justice. The criminal justice system is designed to deliver justice for all. However, for Black people in America, this nation has mandated them under the Just Us system. I'm going to repeat that again. The Just Us system. Just us. The topic of reparations is personal for me. Imagine, if you will, your parents, grandparents, great grandparents were taken from their homes, stripped of their language, their religion, their culture, heritage, way of life, whatsoever have you, were forced into labor, slavery, if you will, were sold off, auctioned off. Their families were broken up, not just for 6 months, not just for a year, not just for 2 to 5 years or a decade, but for centuries. For centuries. How would you feel? Would you want this government to make amends, to repair the damages that they're done to your loved ones, to your family, for breaking them up, for splitting them up, stripping them of all their way of life? Would you want this government to give you monetary compensation, land, and do a economic plan to help your community? Would you want this government to right the wrongs of what they did to your loved ones? This is how millions of Black Americans feel in this nation regarding reparations. I may not be a politician, I may not be a famous person, but what I can do is draw attention to this subject and to this matter. Reparations are needed for Black people. We have fought for this nation, we have voted in elections, and America was built on our blood, sweat, and tears and on our backs. Without Black people, America would have never, ever became a superpower. So are needed for Black people. Again, I cannot stress enough that reparations are needed for Black people. Native Americans, Japanese Americans, Jewish Americans, every white slaveholders in Washington, D.C. have received reparations. Let me repeat that. White slaveholders in Washington, D.C. received reparations under the Abraham Lincoln administration. It's called the District of Columbia Compensated Emancipation Act of 1862. Abraham Lincoln wanted to rid the District of Columbia of slavery because it would have been a bad look for America, not the country, but just for the district. So he freed the slaves in the District of Columbia and reimbursed the slave owners $300 for each slave. It's called the District of Columbia Emancipation Compensated Act of 1862. The steps that are needed: email your politicians, local officials, congressmen or women, state senators, Governor Newsom here in California, even President Joe Biden, and Vice President Kamala Harris. Let them know that reparations are needed. This government can't afford to do it. They have done it for everyone else. They could do it for Black people. As a matter of fact, Afghan refugees are receiving reparations from the American government right now as we speak. So if they could do it for them, they could do it for us. We are American citizens, and our voices matter, and our lives matter too. What I'm doing, I have this T-shirt here. Stop talking about the money and start talking about reparations. Stop talking about Black trauma and talk about the money, reparations. That's this T-shirt that I have. I may have worded it wrong, forgive me, but you get the gist and you get the idea of it. But these are t-shirts that I had made up back in June, and I have plenty of them. But this is one way I'm drawing attention to it, and I'm drawing attention to it on my podcast and on my YouTube videos, as well as this video. You could do the same. Research reparations. Do your research on it. I have books here. Post-traumatic slave syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGruy. Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. The Slave Ship by Marcus Rediker. Excellent book. These are all excellent books. Slavery, the transatlantic slave trade, child slavery was a traumatic experience for Black people, and we are suffering through it now. We're suffering through PTSS, post-traumatic slave syndrome. And also, by the way, Congress refuses to make lynchings a federal crime. In 2021, lynchings are not a federal crime. We need to pressure Congress on making these federal hate crimes. We need to pressure Congress. So go on social media, let your loved ones know that this has to be done. We have to make lynchings a federal hate crime. And reparations for Black people are a must. It's long overdue. This is not about being racist or anything like that. We need allies. We need people to listen, learn, and be empathetic, emphasize with the struggles that Black people are facing. Be a solution to the problem, not the problem. Be an ally. Reparations are a must. Again, I implore you to use social media. Let your loved ones know, your community know, reparations for Black people are a must. Please. I'm continuing to do my part, but I cannot do it alone. I need your help as well. I appreciate you for listening, and always remember, be an ally. Be a solution to the problem, not part of the problem. Please listen, learn, and show empathy. We need you. Thank you. And thank you for your time.